Welcome back, friends. This is Fraser from FF Art Studio. Hope you all are doing fine, friends. So in this third and final part of the game asset of this wooden crate sculpt we'll be doing the texturing. So first we'll be doing the UV unwrapping of this model in Maya, then we'll do the texturing in Substance. So let's get started. As you can see, I have all the parts created separately, so it is easier for us to do the UV unwrapping, right? So let's do it one by one. So first start with this cube, and let's open up the UV toolkit and the UV editor. Okay, so the UV toolkit and the UV editor. So you can just switch to the UV editing workspace over here, and you can get this, or you can get it from Windows as well. Okay. Now this is very simple. So you can just do automatic if you want. So this is the shortcut for automatic. You can do automatic and all the parts will be getting separated over here. Okay, so this is one way of doing it very quickly and easily. So you can do this. Okay, so we can readjust this, not an issue. Next, coming to this one. Okay, so same, we can just do automatic over here so that we don't waste our time doing the UV unwrapping for this in detail. Okay, just to keep it simple for us, we just try to get this UV done as quick as possible. Okay, yeah. So we can fit the rest of the parts. I think the diagonal ones here. Now again, I'll go with the same. One thing you can always do is you can just select all this, coming to this UV toolkit. You can open up the arrange layout, you can do the layout, you can do the orient, so things will get straightened out. Okay, so those things you can do, and you can do the layout to lay them out, okay, properly, instead of just being randomly or haphazardly arranged. So you can come over here and you can do layout along V, so that is also possible. You can do that as well. Okay, so by doing that, what will happen is everything will be aligned properly. So this looks much neat and tidy. So now what happens is, if you just shift this over here and let's select these ones which we are done with. So now we can see we can fit this in the grid. Same thing, if you want, you can try with this also, the layout thing. Okay, the layout and the orient. That looks fine for now. Next, metal ones. Let's do a quick automatic. Okay, so you can see automatic is cutting all the edges over here around. Now if you don't want this to happen, you can fix it. Okay, if you want to do a planar projection, you can just click here and get the planar projection. Okay, and once you have that with the symmetry on, okay, you can simply grab the edges you want to cut. 3D cut and sew tool, you can just take it from the UV menu here, and once you are there, you can just simply cut the edges you want to cut. Since we already have the symmetry on, you need not worry about this part. So you can just cut it like this. Okay, so that's separate and this part is separate, right? As soon as you completely select the loop and separate these two shells, we go to selection and then select shell, or select it from here. You can see this shell is now separate from the outer shell, right? So all these shells, the inner ones and the outer ones, we've separated now. So if you select all of this and just do from this UV toolkit, come under unfold and just do unfold over here. So once that's done, you can just do a layout, okay, and then you can do an orient from it, okay, if you want, and then layout once more. So this is better and easier to work with compared to what we have done automatic. So that depends. So for these parts, automatic work fine because these are all wood and all 90 degrees, right? But for this one, I mean, it's little complex compared to these, so it's better to do it manually. So I think, yeah, that's fine. We have some space over here, so not an issue. For now, this is good. And we're fine to go ahead with this. Okay, so the UV is done. UV unwrapping is done for this box. Okay, we can close this for now. And let's come back to the outliner over here. No need of keeping the mesh separate. because in the high poly also we are having a single mesh, right? So we'll just combine these as well. So let's copy the name and just select all this and combine from here, or you can also combine from the shelves. Okay, so once everything is combined, delete history, freeze transformation, and let's change the name to low poly box meshing. Okay, so it's always better to get it down. So with the D, so with D and X, just snap it to the grid. Okay, so this would be at the center of the grid, the pivot, right? So once we are done with this, we have a single mesh, history, delete, freeze transform once more if you want. So everything is fine, the file is clear. Always check the shaders applied to it. Okay, so this is Lambert 1 for now. So let's assign a new material over here. Just select blend and just name it low poly box shader, sh for shade. Okay, just with this selected, go to file, export selection. Under export selection, go to your file location. For this prop I have a separate project window, always do that. So with that I have this LT wooden box version 1. Okay, so I'll just name it as version 2 for now. Okay, because we have combined it. FBX version 1 was for ZBrush.
Subscribe to my channel,
and this is for Substance Painter, right? So version 2 and it's exported FBX. So with that done, let's get on to Substance Painter. Okay, so with the Substance Painter on, let's check how we get the file in. So go to the file option and click the new. New project window is open over here. So basically you just need to see if you want to give the resolution to 1K or 1024. So I'll keep it as it is and I'll just select the file. So we know the file we are going to take for Substance Painter, which is the low poly wooden box version 2. So we'll click that and hit open and then hit OK over here. So once we do that, the file will be loaded. So we can see our model is loaded in Substance Painter. Okay, so there you go. That's the low poly model and we have the UV over there, right? So everything's fine. And since we had applied the shader over here, you can see the low poly box shader. It's showing over here, the main shader we have over here. Okay, so that's good. Next thing is we need to bake the textures of the high poly to the low poly mesh over here. Okay, so that's very important part. So let's learn how to do that. So for that, you can see over here we have the layers panel over here and we have the texture set settings panel over here. So click on the texture set setting panel, and if you just scroll down a little bit, you will see the mesh maps option over here. So under mesh maps, you have the bake mesh maps option. So mesh maps basically are the maps like the occlusion map or the normal map or the ID map or the height map. So basically the certain maps which are being calculated with the coordination of the high poly model. When we are baking it to the low poly, all those data gets transferred to the low poly model. So let's see how it's done. So basically we'll just click it, and once we click it, we get this option and window over here for baking. So there are a few things we can do very quickly. That is, first, we don't need the ID. So we'll just turn off the ID, okay, from here, and we'll turn off the thickness. Okay, so for this example, we don't need that. The normal, the world space normal, ambient occlusion, curvature map is very important, and position. These need to be there. Okay, so once they are there, and the output size is 512, you can change the output size to 1024. Okay, that's one step. So if you see over here, we have the option for use low poly mesh as high poly mesh. Okay, or you can use the high poly mesh. Instead of using the low poly itself as high poly, we can use a separate high poly. And since we have sculpted a high poly mesh in ZBrush, we have it. So we'll just import that over here. So under assets, we have the high poly wooden box mesh 3, that is. Okay, high poly wooden box 3. So we just select that and open it. And once we are open over here, with that, few more tweaks if you want to do, you can do. You can use cage if you want. Okay, for now, for the first example, I will go without using that and just see what we get with the default settings. Okay, so now we are just going with this as it is, and under you get bake low poly box shader. So we have only one shader, so this will show you this current selected shader. Just hit the bake low poly box shader button over here. As you can see, it started creating all the maps. So as soon as it's done, you can already see the low poly mesh has the data of our sculpting from the high poly. All there. All our normal values, our occlusion values, and pretty cool, right? And if you just use hold shift and right click and just drag the mouse, you can just rotate the light to make your preview better, or whichever direction you want to see from. Right. So coming down to the baked mesh maps, as you can see over here, we have all the maps which have been baked just now. We have the maps. So we just click over here, you can see the maps, right? So we have the normal map. We have this world space. We have the curvature map, right? So this curvature map will be very useful, very helpful. Basically, this helps to texture the edges, okay, better. And this is the ambient occlusion map. Obviously, you know about this. Basically, contact shadows are provided by this map. So sometimes there might be some glitch or error after baking. So as you can see, we are getting some kind of glitch over here. So let's bake once more. Just go back to your texture sets. If you want, you can just delete these maps, okay, or directly just bake once more so they'll overwrite. So let's hit the bake mesh maps option, and with the idea and thickness turned off. And this is the output size we are taking. We already have the high poly mesh selected, so no problem with that. This the only change we need to make, the major change we need to make over here, is we need to turn off the average normals. And rest, if you want, you can turn this to LP underscore, since we have used LP and HP for low poly and high poly respectively. And yeah, this one match, you can keep this as always. And this anti-aliasing you can change to subsampling to 4x4. So just this much you need to do, and the major one over here is the average normals. Just turn that off. With that done, just quickly hit on bake. So it will take just few seconds to do its stuff. And as we can see pretty well, that once we have turned off the average normals, that issue which we had over here is now gone, right? And we can also see the sculpting of the high poly clearly in this mesh, which previously was not there visible, right? Coming back to the layers panel over here. So this is just like Photoshop. We have different layers. Over here, the different layers are present in the same way. We can apply color or material to different layers. So you can apply various kinds of materials you can find under here in the library. So we have all sorts of materials, starting from wood, metal, all kind of skin, okay, fabric, leather, or name it, plastic, whatever it is. So we get all kinds of material. You can also import certain materials, and you can download free materials and import them as well. So just for a trial run, I want to show you. If you want to add a material, let's say this is a wooden material, right? So if you want to add, you can just drag it with the left click and drag it onto the mesh over here. So that will add this material directly onto the mesh over here, right? So you can see over here under the layers, this material is directly added over here. So if we come down to the properties panel over here, just pull this up. So you can see under the properties panel, we have the different attributes for the material, okay? The color, the metalness, or different maps. You can see the color, the metal roughness, normal height, everything is already there over here, okay? All the attributes. So anyway, so this was just an example just to show you how we can work on it. We already have the sculpt from ZBrush and we are doing a stylized one, right? So we are not going to use any pre-made material. We'll create the material ourselves, okay? So we can delete this material by hitting over here, the delete button over here. And you can create your own layer first from beginning, right? That's the best way to work. So if you come over here, just hover over here, you'll get various options. So if you see this bucket, add fill layer. So there are two main types of layer, fill layer and just add simple paint layer. Okay, you can use add fill layer. So let's click on that. So we'll get a new fill layer. And once we got that, we'll find that under the properties and the color. So under this, you get the base color option. Just click on this over here and you can change the color as you wish. So let's say we go with this base color, right? So fine, perfect. Next, we can work gradually. with the metalness, with the roughness, with the normals and everything. As far as this is concerned, if you don't need the normal from this layer, we can just turn off the normal. You can just turn off the height and metal as well, because metal is not required. But if you want the roughness, you can just keep it, and if you like it, it's good. If you want to reduce the roughness, we have the roughness for the slider over here. You can see as you decrease the roughness, it becomes more shinier, it's glossy. And if you want to keep it little dry, kind of less glossy, then you can just increase the roughness to the value you find as suitable, right? So that looks great. Let's say you want to add this color only to this inner box, right? Not to this one, not to the diagonal ones, right? Only to the inner box. So let's just hop on and just check the reference for a moment. So this is how it looks like. So the inner box is having a lighter color with grains, and the outer, these frames are having a little darkish tone, right? So we can keep this in separate layers, right? So let's say this is the inner box. So you can name it inner box base. Okay, so you can just name it as inner box base, and that's your base color, right? Now let's do the base colors first, and if we feel that these settings are good enough, we can just copy it instead of taking a new fill layer and then again deleting and setting up the properties, right? So you can just duplicate this very easily. If you just click over here, right click, you can just duplicate layers. So you can just do that, or you can do Ctrl D as shortcut. Okay, so once you do that, this is duplicated. Instead of inner box, we can name this as frame base. Layer B for the frame. Now how will be separated, right? Now this one is applied. Let's switch this off for now. This is applied to all the meshes over here, right? All it. You can see in the UV panel over here also, on the 2D panel as well. Now if you want this, let's say this color, if you turn it a little dark, okay, just like this. Let's say we want something. Let's say for the base we want something like this, okay? But we want it only for these frames, okay, and these diagonal ones. Now how do we do that? So that means we need to do some masking over here, right? You can just come over here and you can add a mask over here. There are two kinds of masks, white mask and black mask. So black mask obviously will cover everything, and if we color white in the portions we need this texture to be shown, then it will obviously color up this. So how do we do that? So a very easy method to do that is if you come down over here to polygon fill. So if you do the polygon fill, okay, right? And with this color value over here in the properties, so this will show up only once mask is selected. So we have the colors white, that means we're going to fill it with white. So instead of masking, we demask it, those colors, those portions, okay? So let's select. So we can select the polygons from the 3D panel. So if you just select over here, click over here. So the ones which we want to apply this color to. So polygon fill is applying these textures or this layer to only specific polygons you click, not the entire mesh, right? So another way of doing is to go to the UV jungle from here as well, and let's make it white. Okay, now we know this is all metallic, this is the base or the inner wood, and this part is all the frame part and the diagonal wood which we need to texture in this way. So we can just drag it and just fill this layer or fill this mask over here just to color this. So this is the wooden frame and this is the base. Now let's come on to this iron blocks which we have at the edges. Okay, so obviously we'll take a separate layer for that, separate fill layer. So let's click. As soon as we click, since it is on top, this is topmost layer, obviously it is covering all the layers and it's influencing it completely. So first let's do one thing, mask it. So black mask, okay, and we want to apply only to these parts, right? So obviously we have the UV fill, and with this white selected, we'll just drag it and just select it here. So now you can see that very simply we have applied the mask and we have just applied this layer, fill layer to only these metallic parts we need. Okay, So you can just name it METL metal base, right? So you can just go back to the paint option over here, okay? And then you have all the properties of this layer, okay? So if you select the mask, if you click on the mask, the properties of the mask will show. If you click on this layer or the fill layer, the properties of the fill layer will show, okay? As simple as that. So let's say we want to get this color a little darker for the base. Let's say not very dark, somewhere in the middle. Yeah, that will look fine. And since it's metal, so we are doing it manually. We can obviously take material from here and directly apply it to it, to this part. But I'm trying to do a stylized version, so I'll just show you how it's done manually. So coming over here back to this part, let's increase the metallic value, okay? So metal, that means there should be shine, right? So increase the metallic for that. Yeah, this looks perfect. And if you work on the roughness and just decrease the roughness, okay, it will become more shinier. So it completely depends on you how you want this to look, okay? Whether you want to make it too much shiny or less shiny, depends on the style you're doing. So for now, for the stylized version, we'll keep something like this, okay? Not too glossy, too metallic, and not too flat, something like this, okay? The base, that's just the base. And for the base, I don't need any height or normal, so I'll just turn them off. So this is a good starting point. As you can see, we have got the base colors, the base materials in the different layers already sorted out. With the base wood selected, if we take another layer, okay, just above that, let's say we'll take a fill layer, okay? And once we got the fill layer, obviously hit the black mask. So we have already sculpts done, right? The wooden grains and all. So we'll try to use that to enhance the textures, okay? Basically the curvature map will come to use over here, right? So let's see how we do that. So for that, with this selected, what we'll do is, so if you come over here under add effects, you'll see this option as add generator. So you can add a generator into this mask, right? Now the generator is empty. So if you just hold on to the properties, generator properties, and click over here, you will find various kinds of generator. What we need now is a curvature. Okay, so let's select that. So as soon as we select the curvature, you can see that you are getting some variation in the color, right? So now we play with its values and the basic colors it has. So if you just turn down this global balance, you can see how it's working, right? You can see the grains over here. The edges of the grains are getting soft, some soft color, right? Soft coloration over here. This, for now, this layer itself has a base color of this gray kind of, which is a neutral color over here. So we don't need the metallic, we don't need the roughness, height, normals, nothing for this. Only we can play with the color. Now at the same time, if you change this color, you will see this also changes. So you can do it little subtle using some different colors, changing the value of the color or the saturation. If you want to make this part darker, you can do that with the color as well. So it's completely up to you how you want to keep it. Okay, so this is one part. Let's say we'll keep something closer to the original color, which is brown. So we'll keep something like that, close to that. And in order to change the values, you can come down to the generator properties or the curvature. And from the curvature property, we can play with the values over here. Now let's see if you increase the global blur over here, what happens. So increase the blur, it blurs out and fades off. Okay. If you decrease it, it will sharpen off. Okay. Same way, if you increase the contrast, it will be harder. Okay. So if you increase this, the values of that part, this curvature will increase. So it has to be subtle. At the same time, it cannot be overpowering over the base layer. Okay. So both the settings over here as well as the format of blend options we are using over here for the layer style, that's also important. So if you want, you can change this to overlay. Okay, that will give you a darker color. And normally, if you want a darker color, you can do that, or else you can do color dodge if you want a lighter color. So these are two main options we use for this kind of stylization. And as far as the contrast goes, we can increase the contrast a little bit, and this value you can play with. Okay, how much you want. One more thing is, if you see over here, invert, global invert. If we just invert this, now it will just flip. So the color which is on top, the lighter color, that takes over, and the darker color which we have below, okay, that will come through the grooves. Right? It's completely up to you how you want to do that. Let's turn this back to how it was, and let's decrease the value a slight bit, and this contrast will increase a little bit more, slight, to get the detail a little more popped up, and then we can use the blur slightly if you wish to. Okay, a very minimum amount. So let's say we are cool with this. So once we are happy, do the same process for the other layers, right? So coming to this frame, let's say we want a similar kind of effect in that. So yeah, don't forget to name it. So this is the curvature for the inner wood, right? We can just name this as curvature. Okay, and then you can create a folder. So you can see the folder icon over here. You can create a new folder, and you can just paste this inner box name over here in the folder, right? Name the folder inner box, and just drag these two, shift select, drag it inside this folder. Now you have the inner box. Whatever texture layers you are applying for the inner box will be present in this folder. So that way it will be all organized. And when you need to work on this, you only work on this. You don't have to worry about the other ones. So it's sorted out. So same way we'll do for this frame. Coming to this part, let's take a new fill layer, add black mask. Okay, now to that mask we add generator. So we'll take a curvature over here. Okay, so you got that. As for the color goes, we don't need the rest for now, only playing with the colors. Yes, let's say this looks pretty cool. And now we just need to fix one more thing over here. That is, just like we have done a folder for this, we'll just create one more folder for the frame wood as well. So you can just copy this name over here, and with the top one selected, just create one folder. Just paste the name. And once that is done, you can just, okay, no need of the base, wooden frame wood. Just take these two layers and just put it inside this. Take these two layers and just put it inside the folder. Okay, so once it is inside that folder, so yeah, as you can see, once it's inside that folder, you can just take this one and just place it on top of this, right? So that way also you can do. So now we can add a black mask over here. So this is not affecting this, right? Now we can just come here and go to mesh and white. Okay, with the white selected, we can just drag or select the mesh over here. So now basically this is what this folder itself is getting masked. So it's going to influence only this part, the inner one, and not the one frames below. Okay, so great. So this looks pretty cool, huh? As far as a stylized box for a beginner. Yeah, so far just playing with the basic colors, okay, and some basic generators over here. Coming to this part, the metallic part over here, okay, the iron cubes you can see at the corners. So for that, we can use some noise for that, okay. We have some sculpting details over here, very slight and fine. With certain parts, some scratches are there. Okay, so we can use some other generators over here to get this a little better. Okay, so this looks pretty cool. I'm going with this. I'm going to save the file. It will get updated over here. Okay, yeah. So as you can see, we have done the basic texturing. If you want, you can add some more detail. Okay, since we are not getting a prominent detail with the crevices of the grains, we are only getting the highlights. So you can just come over here in a wooden inner box and just take one fill layer over here, okay, and once you have that fill layer, just turn these down for now. Add black mask, okay, same, and this time we are going to add another generator. Let's add another generator over here. Click over here. So let's go with this dot, okay. Let's start. So you can see you're getting this dot effect over here, right? You can play with the color. Okay, that looks cool. Already we are getting some cool effects over here, right? Like this dot over here. Next thing, you can just click on the mask over here, click on the dot and change the values and some settings like the amount of grunge you want. If you want to reduce it, you can just reduce that. If you want to increase the size, you can just do that. If you want to reduce the size, you can do that. If you want to blend the contrast, you can blend it using this one. If you want the edge masking, you can do that. What else you can do? Dirt level, you can increase it or decrease it, right? So that the edges become, you get the feel for the edges, right? This looks pretty cool. Another thing you can do is you can just change these settings. I mean the blend mode over here. Good. Back in. Next you can take one more. Okay. So we'll add the occlusion as well. So let's take one more fill layer. Let's turn all this down. So we are just playing with the color for now. And let the color be as it is. Let's add one black mask, and once we are done with the black mask, let's add a generator to the black mask. Let this time take the ambient occlusion. Okay, yeah, so once we apply that, you can see that you don't see any difference over here, right? So for that, we need to change the blend mode over here. For the occlusion, it's always preferred to use multiply. So you can see as soon as we have used multiply, we are getting the grooves, the crevices we created by sculpting. We are getting some effects over there. See, without this and with this. So you're getting that. Okay. Now, the color usually for this is kept as white. If you want to keep it a slight tint, you can keep it tint, but it's better keeping towards white. and then change the values, right? So let's see what values we have over here. Similarly to the curvature, we have the values over here, that global blur, global balance, and global contrast. So if you want to increase the contrast, you can just increase the contrast. If you increase the value, increase the value. Okay, if you want something like this, that's also cool. Okay, so dirt is giving you this effect, and with the darken on. So if you want, you can just reduce the dirt opacity slight bit. Just do similar thing for rest of the parts, just like we did for the inner box. So one curvature layer, one dirt layer, one ambient occlusion layer. That's it. So for the iron part, we'll take another layer and we'll add the brush generator here for the iron part, and we'll just turn off normals and metalness. We'll keep the roughness a bit, and we'll give it a reddish brown kind of rust color, and we'll keep the values very subtle so that the stylized look is there. Yeah, this looks pretty cool. Just do a little final touch. Yeah, just adjust the height a little bit, maybe the roughness a bit. So yeah, it looks pretty cool now. Yeah, now it looks pretty good to go. So we are done with this, and render it once. So iray render gives a pretty cool effect. Once you set up the light properly, we can turn the light and we can adjust the shadow by turning that. I just rotate it a bit, and let's see, the edges are coming pretty fine now. The iron thing. Yeah, good. So we can just save this. Yeah. And so once we are fine with that, let's export the textures. So go to File, Export Textures, and then this window opens up. And then certain major settings are there which you can do for the format and for the location, file location, file format, and the size you want to export, 1K, 2K, whatever you wish to export. And depending on the pipeline you're following, the type of textures you want to export. So I'll go with this, the normal default one for now. We can do a separate tutorial for specifically the export and different types of exports we have for Arnold or for Unity. whichever one we are doing pipeline. So these are the textures you'll get. That's it, the export button. Yeah, so the export is done. Now we can check the textures. So just click on the, and as you can see, we have the textures exported over here. This is the base map or the color map. This color, this is bottleness, ambient occlusion. This is the normal map, OpenGL. Okay, this is the reference map. I hope you learned a lot from this tutorial, how we texture stylized wooden crate and the entire process of baking the textures to UV and then obviously exporting the textures. So thanks friends for watching till the end. Take care.